Hey everybody, welcome back to Roll with
the Troll.
Today we're talking about Creed 2 and the popular belief that a lot of people feel that Creed 2 should have ended the entire Rocky franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Do you hear this as often as I do?
I think so, yeah.
I hear it all the time. People always say, they should just end it at Creed 2. It's getting silly now. It's too much. Guys, that is a wild belief system that the whole franchise needs to end at Creed 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's so silly because people said after the first Rocky that it was way back then. They were saying it would be ridiculous to do a sequel. That's really what people thought.
Mm-hmm.
They said, don't ruin it. It's the Oscar winner. Just don't give us a sequel. Don't fuck it up. Then Rocky 2 came out. Yeah, the critics didn't really like it, but the public generally did. And people said, okay, that's good, but don't do a Rocky 3. That's what they were saying back then. They're like, all right, a second one's cool, but don't do 3. Then 3 comes out, and they're like, all right, that was pretty good. Just please don't do you don't go beyond. We got a trilogy now. That's the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
So people always say this. They always feel for some reason that
people don't know.
They don't know. And what I'm really getting at is imagine, like, so many people love Rocky 4, and so many people love Rocky Balboa, and so many people love the first Creed, and many of us love everything in between too, like Rocky 5 and Creed 2, etc. But what I'm saying is almost nobody doesn't want to. Aren't we all glad we got Creed 1? Everybody's glad.
Yeah.
Aren't we all glad we got Rocky Balboa? Of course. Aren't we all glad we got Rocky 4? Most people, almost everybody is.
Mm-hmm.
So if they had stopped at Rocky, the first one or the second one or the third one, we'd be without all these other ones. It's a great franchise.
Our life would be less.
Yes. Our cup runneth over with all these Rocky and Creed movies, and it should continue to run over. Look, To me, I think this is actually the most consistent franchise in terms of repeated sequels and still holding the story together.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? I mean, like with Halloween and with Star Wars, they have about as many films roughly.
Mm-hmm.
But there is more retconning there than there is here. There's still some Rocky retcons. We'll talk about those another time. There's a few times when the story deviated and the ages changed and things like that. Okay, that's fine. But overwhelmingly, I think the retcons are light enough here where you can feel like you're part of the universe pretty comfortably.
Yeah.
Stallone's done an amazing job on that, and the other guys too that have been involved. And this is just a great ongoing series where even if you get a clunker you don't like so much, like some people really don't like Rocky 5. I do. Check out our Rocky rankings. But, some people didn't like Rocky 5. Some people didn't even like Creed 2 all that much. They felt it wasn't as good as the first Creed. Look, at the end of the day, I don't think anybody thinks any of these movies just full-blown sucks. And with Halloween, with Star Wars, with a lot of ongoing movies that have a lot of sequels, there's usually something that you think really blows. So anyway, let's talk about this. Should Creed 2 have ended the franchise, have just ended the whole franchise altogether? What do you think, Voice of Reason?
Well, for me, I feel like it kind of did end the franchise because the next Creed movie is kind of a new beginning and a whole new franchise in and of itself now at that point. So
because of no Stallone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a nice, it was a smooth transition, giving us Creed 1, Creed 2 with Rocky, and now to have the next Creed without Rocky. To me, it feels like it's a new franchise now.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way, guys. And check it out. I know you could say that Creed 1 and Creed 2 were both Creed's story. I agree, but not by much. I think those two films are like 60% or so the emphasis is on Creed, 40% is on Rocky. I think it's close to that. Maybe not as much in Creed 2. Creed 2 was probably a little more in Creed's favor, surprisingly. Like, they had cut out that whole hospital scene where Rocky was going to fight Drago in the hospital.
Yeah.
Remember that? That whole thing that leaked online? So because that got cut out, Rocky had less to do with it. But still, I think at most, the slant towards Creed and the storytelling and the whole narrative is maybe 65% of the story. Rocky's still easily 35%, if not more. And therefore, like you said, it's the slow rolling of the gradually giving us more and more Creed. Creed 3 is going to really be the first time that it's a Creed story, that it's not in some heavy way a Rocky story.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't know how this is going to go. This could feel amazing. It could be great. It could be nowhere near as good without Stallone. I don't know.
No, I think they got it exactly right though, because by having the first couple of Creed movies with the character of Rocky Balboa, now they've got us invested in Creed, and now Creed takes off on his own. And I think that that's one thing that the Rocky franchise and Cobra Kai have done so well, is combining original fans with a new story and a new character, and bringing in new generations of fans to move forward. They got this. They've got it balanced perfectly.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the fact that they eased in your like for Creed over two films where you still got Stallone to anchor it was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
If they kept doing that, if they said, okay, now Creed 3 we still get Stallone, and then Creed 4 we get Stallone, then Creed would never really get to shine, and he'd miss out on the screen time to get into deeper storytelling for him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was in the comments with at our last Creed video with somebody, I forget the audience member's name now, I'm sorry, but we were talking about how you don't really like Creed himself, not the movies, but himself, the character.
Really?
As much as you like Stallone, as you like Rocky. That Rocky's still a little more likable. And I think the reason for that is only that Creed hasn't had enough screen time yet. Rocky, think about the first Rocky film for a second.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long and slow-moving movie. You have a lot of character exposition. You see Rocky in a million situations. He's in almost every scene of the film.
Mm-hmm.
And you have almost no choice by the end of that film to really know Rocky and like him, right?
Yeah.
And the second film's not much different. He's still in almost every scene, and it's still slow going. And so by the end of Rocky 2, you really have gotten a lot of Rocky time.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of Creed 2, we still don't know Creed that well. We're not seeing him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's likable, but I don't have those moments with him where I really feel like I truly get him in every way yet.
Yeah.
He hasn't been that fleshed out, partially because at least a third of the story time is going to Rocky Balboa.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the problem. I think by Creed 3, we could love Creed. We could love, not the movie, the guy.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. So it's probably the exact right time to have Stallone bow out.
I agree.
Right? And
Yeah.
it does feel like, I agree with you, it does feel like we're starting a whole new franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good. That's the way it should feel. I think it'd be a shame, though, to really address this question fully. I think it's a shame when people say, Creed 2 should have ended the franchise. It sent Stallone off on a nice note.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no, because now you're barely getting to explore Creed's story.
Yeah.
He just became heavyweight champion at the beginning of Creed 2.
Mm-hmm.
Then he got faced with the biggest fight of his life, and then he lost that one. And then, well, he got the technical win. And then in the end, he really proved himself. All right. So now we've really got Creed as, I'm dangerous. You remember?
Yeah.
Now we've really got him as like a dangerous badass and heavyweight champion of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can do several movies like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
It's time for him to take off on his own now, and we can really get fully invested in his character.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. I don't think that the Rocky franchise ends, just like in life. I mean, the next generation comes up and the stories continue, and there's this continuity, and that's what we have with the ongoing Creed movies now.
Yeah, and I really can't wait for his daughter Amara to grow up, and then she'll become a female boxer.
Yeah.
And we can see her yeah, who knows, maybe that'll happen. Anyway, guys, so let us know in the comments what you think.
Hit the like button.
I know I've got so many Stallone fans out there and Creed fans, and I love it. I love your guys' comments, so please let us know what you're thinking. Yeah, like, subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you tomorrow for another video.